Okay, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's well. Happy Thursday for those that are tuning in live. For those that are watching this and any other day, all good. Um, Happy day, whatever it is that you're tuning into. Spring is quickly upon us as we venture out into May. L'chaim for those that are in their middle of their coffees. Yesterday, we spoke a lot about this idea of designing rituals. This is a totally proactive approach towards life. Your brain will adapt to anything that it gives it. It's a machine. It's a computer. That's the beauty of your brain. The problem with our brain is that we can't see it, so we don't know what's us and what's our brain. But us, we've been circling back. And for those that have been with us for a while, thank you for keep on coming back. We circle around topics, not because we go back, but because every time you hit another topic, it's related to everything else, right? Life doesn't work in very clean units. Everything relates to everything. And hopefully as we get together and we continue to go down the road together, we go back to concepts and they start to make different levels of sense. So we're speaking about this concept really of where you and your brain need to be separate. We have to just see it like that way. We have to understand it that way. Even if we can't put our finger as to what the boundaries are between us and our brain, we have to start the process of identifying the essential self with the computer that I was given to execute that in this world. Who you are is infinite. So your essential self is you, no matter whether you have a body or you're in the next life or the first, all that stuff. I mean, this isn't a class on spirituality, but like who you are isn't bound by your body. How you navigate this world, you need an avatar. You need something to allow you to play in this virtual reality game called life. Well, the computer of that game is your brain. And that distinction is critical because that distinction, first of all, says to you, wait, I can change my brain. Now, I'm not saying you can change every aspect of your brain. I'm also not saying you can change it whenever you want to. But I'm saying that you have a power to adapt your mind more than one would think. And the way we get that is by understanding that whether we like it or not, our brain is adapting to the world that we place it in. So if you right now are in a home with children, you're already seeing them adapt to a schooling that they never envisioned 5 months ago. They're doing things that we never thought of. I don't know if I told you the story here or not. I don't remember about my son. I think I did. My son ditched class, which is ditched the bedroom that is his classroom. And I caught him in the hallway and I'm like, what are you doing? It's class time. And then I walk him into the room where he is supposed to be in class. And I see the Zoom screen on and the gallery pictures. And I see him in class. And I'm like, wait. And what he did was he figured out that you can screenshot yourself. So he screenshots himself pretending to study. And then he shuts his video off and puts it as the background. And now when the teacher looks at the class, it sees him. It's a picture of him, but just like pretending to have his head down studying. And he booked out, which gave me so much joy. I mean, like, forget it. He adapted into his new environment. So our brain is doing that all day. Once we get that, we like it, we don't like it, we agree, we don't agree, we hear this, don't hear this. It is what it is. That's how your brain works. Now you go, whoa, wait a second. My brain is adapting to the thoughts. Well, why don't I just design my thoughts? Why don't I design my day? Why don't I just start designing things that will force my brains to adapt around the things that I wanted to adapt around? And then over the course of time, I'll be able to just naturally get closer to doing the things that I want to be doing. Well, how do I do that? Okay, well, I have two things that we've been working on here. And if you're here for the first time, you can go to YouTube and wherever, YouTube, Instagram, and go look at the other episodes. But remember, we did two things. We did visualization. Your brain can see things that don't exist right now. Remember the Navy SEALs? Remember Michael Phelps? You can see something that you don't have right now. I don't gotta tell you that liver ice cream is gonna be terrible. You don't have to try it. You can just see and put the pieces together. You can see things that you can see things that you've never experienced yet. So you have the power of visualization in your quiver. You have willpower in your quiver. And if you just combine the two and say, okay, I can take my power of visualization, I can see things that aren't here. Natan Sharansky, remember Natan Sharansky was an incredible chess prodigy as a young child in the former Soviet Union. And he was jailed. And a lot of it was in solitary confinement. He came out, and I saw this morning as I was reviewing the book. We'll talk about this more, of course. Natan Sharansky came out, and he was able to play. It was a mass tournament. He played Garry Kasparov, and he beat him. It wasn't a one-up, but and they asked him, how could you possibly have continued to grow in chess? And he said, well, I've been playing chess every day of my life. They're like, you've been in solitary confinement. And he goes, I've been playing chess in my mind, multiple games. His brain visualized moves that weren't actually happening. He didn't have a chessboard in a Russian cell in solitary confinement. He just woke up in the morning and played chess in his brain. That made him a better chess player. Now you know why, because his neuroplasticity got stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. So if you use visualization, you can visualize what an ideal 5 minutes should look like when you wake up in the morning. You can visualize what an ideal response to that child is. You can visualize what you're really trying to get every day, which is the wall that you're hitting. I had this with a friend of mine who called me for advice that his business was struggling, and I realized his business wasn't struggling, that he just didn't know how to manage his emails and phone calls every day. That was it. It was 2:00 in the afternoon. All he did was respond. How could you run a business if all you're doing is responding all day? And so I had him literally visualize an ideal scenario of how he responds to emails and how with his assistant and his associates. Forget the way you do it, just visualize. And it took him like days to he really broke out the set, go do this. Literally, like he designed a play. Go left, go right. Like the way a football coach would design a play. You block, you run out, you throw them the ball. He designed his morning. And then he delivered it to his team, and he delivered it to his own mind. And over time, he took his emails from wake up till 2 p.m. to an hour and a half of his time. It wasn't rocket science. He didn't cure cancer. He just proactively thought about his day. This isn't an insane amount of mental work. You don't have to go to graduate school, but it takes discipline. It takes discipline. That's even harder. I can't even tell you how many parts of my life I'm just sit down and do it. You've been talking about it for so many years. You wrote about it, just do it. And I can't find the time to do it. We're all in the same boat. We're all running around on a treadmill of life, walking too fast. But if you take that power of visualization that we spoke about, that your brain can see into the future, you can live in the ideal. It's not just this is the difference. It's not just outcome visualization. You're not just visualizing where I will end up. That's one visualization. That's directional. This is called, and this is the research done by a woman named Shelley Taylor. This is called process visualization. You're also visualizing the process. Here's how I would design my morning. The way you would design a car. The way you design a picture. The way you would design an invitation. And I would do this, and then once you start designing it, if you can write it down, even better, because writing triggers more, as you can see, more brain neuroplasticity. Once you start writing it down or start thinking about it and you start practicing it, then you go to your other power. You take the power visualization, tells you where to go. Then you go to power 2. You know, power 2 is willpower. And you go, okay, willpower is a finite resource. I don't have all willpower all day. I can't do this whenever I'm in the mood. I got to allocate that willpower carefully. Okay, I'm going to do this ritual, and I'm not going to want to do it because my brain's going to be like, we don't do it that way. So as soon as I get to it and my inspiration fades, all my brain is saying, whoa, what are we doing? We don't do it like this. Let's take the easy way out. And I'm going to have to exercise willpower to put in my ritual. Where am I going to get willpower? I need an allocation. Okay, I need an allocation. Make sure I do this at a time where I could exercise willpower. Make sure this doesn't happen at a time where I'm spent. Make sure I remember that this isn't going to always feel so hard. If I just keep doing the same ritual, it's going to feel easier. For anyone who's ever worked out before, if you ever had that moment in your life where you never worked out, I had that moment where I was athletic in high school and out of college, and I would just get on a court and just play ball. I never walked into a gym when I was a kid. And then all of a sudden, like you start working and you start eating, and you're like, wait a second. I don't have a basketball team. I don't have practice Tuesdays and Thursday nights. I don't have games on Sunday. So I had to like walk into a gym at one point and get on a treadmill and just run. Forget 10 people playing ball. I'm talking about just run. How do I do that? Do I tell myself, okay, just go to the gym? If all you got to do is go to the gym, just go to the gym. Drive there, change your clothes, and go back home. Nail that ritual down until it feels more, okay, start walking. Put it up one. We do it all the time. And as you get comfortable with the next ritual and the next ritual and the next ritual, your brain starts to adapt and it becomes easier. So thank God now I get on a treadmill and I can just start running. Not because I was born the ability to do that, because the rituals, just own the rituals. Tell yourself, this isn't going to be so hard in a couple of weeks. I was looking this morning for the Tetris study. I'm going to find it. I'll find it this week. I'm keeping you in suspense as to what this, once I tell you the Tetris story, you'll be like, all right, wait. But I got to find this Tetris study about how quickly it starts. They did studies on college kids that hadn't played Tetris, and they started looking at their brains to see how quickly your brain adapts to the new thing. But this concept, and there's 3 pieces to this. There's the concept of designing your mind, designing your day, and building rituals. What it starts to do is it's like picture like a football field or a battlefield where you only have a small little piece. And there's no way you're going to win the war. There's no air cover. So you got to just like take another inch and take another foot and just be happy with that. And just be okay with that. And that's sort of how we do this in life. We look at our days and we go, okay, where am I off? What can I work on? Where can I get better? There's so many layers to this as I'm thinking, my gosh, I hope we have time together. I hope that we do this for a while. There's so many layers. There's the ego that gets involved in this. There's so many layers to this. I really hope that we stay together. I hope we stay together for long. I really want to go on to this. Oh, there's so many layers to this. All right, let's start delving. So number 1, when you go through your day, by the way, if you're watching and you're not doing, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I love you for it, but I'm begging you, do this. It's going to be so much more impactful if I'm doing it. I did it this morning. I woke up this morning. This is what I'm doing. I'm already in the game of trying to think about the next ritual for that day. I know. Thank you, Richard. Richard, you're awesome. Michael Phelps is coming. This is what we do. Thank you, Brett. I love you. Okay, let's stay here. Designing your day. It's what you do. It's what we do in that beginning piece that we spoke about a couple of shows ago, where you have that morning piece before you act, you think. This is what part of your thinking is in the morning. When you have your morning time to think, what you're doing is you're designing parts of your day. And you're looking at it and saying, okay, if I can design a ritual is a set of very specific behaviors that's easy to measure, that's easy to look at, that it's not like finish my taxes. It's not run a marathon even. It's very small, it's very specific, and it's measurable. You can get to the end of the day and look back and go, did I or didn't I do that behavior? And when you design a behavior that, or a string of behaviors, that's called a ritual. And when you place it into some general area of time that is the same, your brain's like, I got it. I know how this thing works. I start, I finish, I'm in this period of time. We'll go into how to do it. Triggers, there's a lot of pieces to this. But for today, let's sort of understand it. The way we start is by visualizing the ideal, by visualizing the process, by looking at your life and going, what could it look like? What could this 10-minute look like? Where do we get the strength? We start looking at our willpower and we allocate a piece. We know in our hearts that if it's harder, let me take more willpower and put it into this ritual because this is a good investment of my willpower. If I can put willpower into this ritual, I'm making a good investment because over time, this will get easier and then I will take willpower and I'll put it to something else. But where do we find it from? Where do we find it from? So let's begin this process and we'll continue tomorrow. So as you know, I've been watching this documentary on Paul Brown. This is my jogging material. Paul Brown was one of the greatest coaches of all time. Bill Belichick, the coach that I think is the greatest coaches, said that his only mentor in life is Paul Brown. In this documentary, it was unbelievable watching him coach because not only did he bring professionalism and thought into the game of football, a lot of what we do now in football, I say we as if like I'm like an owner or a coach or something, what they do now in football really was his inventions. So for example, when he became a coach, they didn't have face guards. They just had helmets. Well, one day his star quarterback was running and one of the defensive linemen elbowed him in the mouth, ripped open his jaw, 15 stitches. So Paul Brown called a friend of his and got him to make a plastic mask over his helmet, but that was uncumbersome. So they got him to make actually a metal bar over his helmet. And that metal bar evolved until now there isn't a football player without a face mask. Where did it come from? Watch. It came from one man looking at one issue and saying to himself, what's the ideal solution to that one issue? Today, every quarterback in their helmet is a receiver, right? It's a radio communicator because the coach is calling the plays in his headset. It's going to the quarterback in the huddle. You know when that started? In like the 50s, when Paul Brown wanted to talk to his quarterback and put it into his helmet. The world thought he was insane. They actually made it illegal and shut it down for 4 decades. What Paul Brown was doing, and what every good innovator does, is he looks at the problems. He doesn't shirk his problems. He doesn't run from his problems. He goes into his problems and he says, wait a second, from within the issue that I'm grappling with, what would a solution look like? It may not be the ultimate solution. It may not be the evolution of the face mask. But what would be the first way to solve this? That's how we design rituals. We take the power of visualization that can see things that don't exist. We take the power of willpower that can have us do things that we don't want to do. And we sit down with honesty and integrity. We look into our days. And you know what we do? We don't run from our challenges. We don't run from our deficiencies. We don't run from the people that are causing us that are worth it, that are causing us the aggravation. We delve right into those challenges. And we ask ourselves, okay, I'm here and I want to fix this. What would be an ideal way to get started? And if you use the problem-based approach, which we're going to talk more about tomorrow, which is the entrepreneur's #1 tool, when you look at your problems from the perspective of visualizing a solution that is a ritual, that is one step into the next direction, now we really begin the process of taking back that battlefield and designing a life that can enable us to do things that we couldn't imagine. All right, we'll talk about this more. To everyone who's out there, thanks so much, Andy. Thanks for jumping in that. For those who want to look at this documentary, It's a Football Life, Paul Brown. Exactly. It's on the chat. And And thanks so much for the time. Thanks so much for being here, making an awesome day. And with God's help, I really, really can't wait to speak to you again tomorrow. Have a great day.